The topic we are going to discuss is LL1 grammar or predictive parsing table. The given grammar expression tends to expression plus term or term. Term tends to term into factor or factor. Factor tends to bracket of expression or ID. The given grammar as left recursion, E tends to E plus T or T, T tends to T star F or F. In the production, right hand side starting symbol capital E, in the left hand side start with capital E again. Then do the left recursion. Similarly, T tends to T star F. The starting symbol capital T, in the left hand side start with capital T again. Then do the left recursion. Here left recursion makes LL1 parsing impossible. So we first remove it. In step 1, do the left recursion. We use the general formula for removing left recursion. If A tends to A alpha or beta, then it becomes A tends to beta A dash and A dash tends to alpha A dash or epsilon. Take the first production E tends to E plus T or T. Here A is in capital E, alpha is plus T, beta is in T. Then A tends to beta A dash. A is capital E tends to beta capital T followed by A dash is E dash. Then you will get E tends to TE dash and A dash tends to alpha A dash or epsilon. A is capital E, then write E dash tends to alpha plus T followed by A dash E dash or epsilon. Here you write E dash tends to plus T dash or epsilon. Next production T tends to T star F or F. Here the production is of the form A tends to A alpha or beta. A is capital T, alpha star F, beta capital F. Here A tends to beta A dash is A is in capital T, T tends to beta F, F followed by A dash T dash. Then T tends to Ft dash. Write T tends to Ft dash. Next formula A dash tends to alpha A dash or epsilon. Here alpha is star F, A going to be T. That is A dash is T dash. Then write T dash tends to star F followed by A dash T dash or epsilon. Here you will get T dash tends to star Ft dash or epsilon. Then capital F has no left recursion. Then write F tends to bracket of E or ID. Finally, the left recursion productions are E tends to TE dash, E dash tends to plus TE dash or epsilon, T tends to Ft dash, T dash tends to star Ft dash or epsilon. Then F tends to bracket of E or ID. Coming to the second step, we will find first and follow. The easy way to find first set is terminal itself, epsilon itself. If non-terminal, first of what it starts with. If empty possible, check next. See the left recursion production. E tends to TE dash. First of E, first of T. Then T starts with capital F. First of F, first of open bracket and ID. Here you write open bracket or ID. Next, first of E dash plus or epsilon. Write plus or epsilon. First of T starts with capital F. First of F open bracket ID. Write open bracket ID. First of T dash star epsilon. Here you write star epsilon. First of F open bracket ID. Here open bracket and ID. Next we will find follow set. Follow set simple rule. When you find the follow set, the starting production always starts with the dollar symbol. The rule A tends to alpha B beta. If a non-terminal capital B is followed by some string capital B, then write first of beta without epsilon into follow B. The rule A tends to alpha B beta and beta can be empty. Add follow A to follow B. Then rule A tends to alpha B. If capital B is lost in the production, add follow of A to follow of B. The easy way to find follow set, the starting symbol always starts with the dollar symbol. After something, first of next. If next can vanish, follow parrots. If lost, follow parrots. When you find follow of E, given left recursion production, in the right hand side, where is E is present. E is present in the production, F tends to bracket of E. Here you write F tends to bracket of E, which is of the form alpha B beta. So follow of E. Follow of E, first of close bracket. First of close bracket. The initial production always starts with a dollar symbol. Then write follow of E equal to dollar comma close bracket. Next follow of E dash. E dash present in the right hand side. E dash tends to TE dash, E dash tends to plus TE dash. Here you write E tends to TE dash, E dash tends to plus TE dash. In the production, TE dash, there is no next symbol. Then you take the follow position of capital E and the follow position of E dash. Write follow of E plus follow of E dash. We already found a follow of E. Dollar comma close bracket. Here you write dollar comma close bracket. Now only we are finding the follow of E dash. Just you write dollar comma close bracket. Leave it follow of E dash. Next, follow of T. In the right hand side, T contain the production. E tends to TE dash. E dash tends to plus TE dash. Right? E tends to TE dash. E dash tends to plus TE dash. Then follow of T. Follow of T. First of E dash. What is first of E dash? Plus epsilon. Here you write plus epsilon. In the first production, E dash tends to TE dash. E dash is vanished. Then you take follow position of E. Here you write plus symbol. Then follow of E. One more production, E tends to plus TE dash. Follow of T first of E dash. We already written first of E dash plus epsilon plus and epsilon is vanished. Then take the follow position of E dash. Here you write plus follow of E dash. Follow of E dollar close bracket plus follow of E dash dollar close bracket. So you will get plus dollar close bracket. Follow of T dash. In the right hand side, T dash contain the production. T tends to FT dash. T dash tends to star FT dash. T tends to FT dash. Right T tends to FT dash. T dash tends to star FT dash. In this two production, there is no next symbol in the right hand side. So we take the follow position of T dash. Follow of T dash equal to follow of T plus follow of T dash. What is follow of T? Plus dollar close bracket. So here you write plus dollar close bracket. Now only we are finding the follow position of T dash. Here you leave it follow of T dash, then you will get plus dollar close bracket. The production follow of F is in right hand side. T tends to FT dash, T dash tends to star FT dash. Here you write T tends to FT dash, T dash tends to star FT dash. Follow of F first of T dash. First of T dash going to be star epsilon. First of T dash star epsilon. Then write star T tends to FT dash, epsilon vanish, then take follow position of T plus here star FT dash, follow of F, first of T dash, star epsilon. So we already written star, epsilon vanish, then you should take follow position of T dash. Here you write star, follow position of T plus dollar close bracket, then follow of T dash plus dollar close bracket. Finally, follow of F going to be star plus dollar close bracket. Here you write follow position of F equal to star plus dollar close bracket. Now consider the parsing table. In the left recursion production, E tends to TE dash. Here you write E tends to TE dash. First of TE dash. First of production first symbol T. First of T means open bracket ID. As per the algorithm, M of non-terminal symbols capital E, comma, open bracket, non-terminal symbols capital E, comma, ID. Then write the production E tends to TE dash. The given parsing table, non-terminal symbols are going to be E, E dash, T, T dash, F. Here you write E, E dash, T, T dash, F. And input symbols are terminal symbols ID plus star open bracket close bracket dollar. So E open bracket E ID, E open bracket EID going to be E tends to TE dash, E tends to TE dash. Next production, E dash tends to plus TE dash or epsilon. E dash tends to plus TE dash. Take first of plus TE dash. In the first symbol plus, first of plus, that is terminal symbols, then write plus. As per the algorithm, M of non-terminal symbols capital E dash, comma, plus, then write the production E dash tends to plus TE dash. In the parsing table, E dash plus going to be E dash tends to TE dash. We have one more production, E dash tends to epsilon, then first of epsilon going to be epsilon. When epsilon present in the right hand side, then you should take the follow position of E dash. What is follow position of E dash? Follow position of E dash going to be dollar close bracket. As per the algorithm, M of non-terminal symbols E dash comma close bracket going to be E dash tends to epsilon. Look at the parsing table, E dash close bracket and dollar going to be E dash tends to epsilon, E dash tends to epsilon. Next, T tends to Ft dash, T tends to Ft dash, first of Ft dash, first of the first symbol capital F. First of F. What is first of F? First of F going to be open bracket at ID. Here M of non-terminal symbols capital T, comma open bracket, non-terminal symbols capital T, comma ID going to be T tends to Ft dash. In the parsing table, T open bracket and ID going to be T tends to Ft dash. Here you write T tends to Ft dash. Next production, T dash tends to star Ft dash or epsilon. T dash tends to star Ft dash, first of star Ft dash. In the production first symbol star, so first of star equal to star, that is terminal symbols. Then as per the algorithm, M of non-terminal symbols capital T dash, comma, terminal symbols star, then write the production T dash tends to star Ft dash. In the parsing table, T dash star going to be T dash tends to star Ft dash. Similarly, we have a one more production, T dash tends to epsilon. First of epsilon going to be epsilon. When right hand side is epsilon, then you should take the follow position of T dash. Follow position of T dash. Follow position of T dash going to be plus dollar close bracket. Here M of T dash comma plus M of T dash dollar M of T dash close bracket going to be T dash tends to epsilon. In the parsing table, T dash plus T dash tends to epsilon, T dash close bracket and the dollar going to be T dash tends to epsilon, T dash tends to epsilon. Last production, F tends to bracket of E or ID. F tends to bracket of E. First of bracket of E. Given production, first symbol open bracket, then you will get open bracket. So M of F comma open bracket going to be F tends to bracket of E. In the parsing table, F open bracket going to be F tends to open bracket. We have one more production, F tends to ID. First of ID, that is terminal symbols, you will get a ID. So M of F comma ID is F tends to ID. So the given parsing table FID is F tends to ID. The given parsing table blank entries are error. In case the table contains multiple entries, then it is not LL1 grammar. The given parsing table there is no multiple entries, then the grammar is said to be LL1 grammar. In the final step, we are going to check the input string ID plus ID star ID is accepted by the grammar or not. The stack symbols always starts with the dollar symbol. The production starting symbol capital E, input symbol ID plus ID star ID, end with the dollar symbol. Then compare EID in the parsing table. EID, E tends to TE dash. Here you write E tends to TE dash. Instead of capital E, write TE dash in the reverse order E dash T. Then TID. Check the parsing table TID. T tends to FT dash. T tends to FT dash. By replacing capital T, write the production FT dash in reverse order. Then you will get stack symbol dollar E dash T dash F. Then input symbol ID plus ID star ID dollar FID. Look at the parsing table FID, F tends to ID. Here you write f tends to id. By replacing capital F, substitute id, then stack symbol dollar e dash t dash id, input symbol id plus id star id dollar, id, pop id, forward input. Then you will get stack symbol dollar e dash t dash, input symbol plus id star id dollar, t dash plus. The parsing table t dash plus going to be t dash tends to epsilon. Here you write t dash tends to epsilon. Instead of t dash, substitute epsilon. You will get stack symbol dollar e dash. E dash plus. Parsing table e dash plus. E dash tends to te dash. Here you write e dash tends to plus te dash. Then write reverse order instead of e dash. Then dollar e dash t plus. Input symbol plus id star id dollar plus plus. Pop plus forward input. Then stack symbol dollar e dash t, remaining input symbol id star id dollar, t id. See the table t id, t tends to ft dash, t tends to ft dash. By replacing capital D, substitute ft dash in a reverse order, you will get dollar e dash t dash f. Then input symbol id star id dollar, fid. FID, F tends to ID. Here you write F tends to ID. By replacing capital F, substitute ID, you will get dollar E dash T dash ID. Input symbol ID star ID dollar, ID. Pop ID, forward input. The remaining stack symbol dollar E dash T dash star ID dollar. Then T dash star. Look at the passing table. T dash star, T dash tends to star FT dash. T dash tends to star FT dash. Write the reverse order. You will get stack symbol dollar E dash T dash F star. Then input symbol star ID dollar. Compare star star, pop star forward input. Then you will get stack symbol dollar E dash T dash followed by capital E, input symbol ID dollar. Compare FID. FID is F tends to ID. Here you write F tends to ID. By replacing capital F, substitute ID. Then dollar E dash T dash ID. Input symbol ID dollar. Compare ID, pop ID, forward input. You will get the stack symbol dollar E dash T dash and input symbol going to be empty. Compare T dash dollar. In the parsing table, T dash dollar going to be T dash tends to epsilon. Here you substitute T dash tends to epsilon. By replacing T dash, substitute epsilon, you will get stack symbol dollar E dash, input symbol dollar, then compare E dash dollar. In the given parsing table, E dash dollar going to be E dash tends to epsilon. Here you substitute E dash tends to epsilon. By replacing capital E dash, substitute epsilon, you will get a dollar and input symbol dollar. That is, stack and input symbols are going to be empty. Then the input string ID plus ID star ID is accepted. That is success state. I hope you all understood the LL1 grammar or predictive parsing table. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comment section. Thank you.